Okay. So yesterday we have discussed about the half wave rectifier working, and we have discussed about the average current and average voltage. Today we move ahead with the next derivation. It is root mean square. Root mean square load current. So that is IRMS. So this root mean square IRMS is mainly it is related with respect to AC. So for DC you are having a fixed voltage or current, but for the AC it is continuously varying. Suppose if you give an AC signal like which is continuously varying and you want to give it to a bulb, okay, you want to give it to the bulb to glow it. Since this voltage is continuously varying, I want to know what is the amount of voltage or the current this bulb needs on an average how much it requires, because it will start from 0. The signal starts from 0 volt, 1 2 3 4 5 6, like that it will increase, and again it will decrease, again it will increase, again it will decrease. It is like that. So root mean square load current is the current which is going to give the average value of AC. It is going to give the average value of AC. So what is the average overall average value of AC that is been required? So IRMS is the current which is the AC current which is getting at the which is obtained across the output, because we know that output is a mixture of AC as well as DC. So this output, whatever we are having, it will be a mixture of AC as well as DC. So the DC component, how much the DC component will be present, that we have discussed in the last class. So we came to know that it is all around 31.8% of the output is DC value. Here we are going to find an equation for finding out the average AC signal. We don't have any direct equation or derivation for AC signal. So wherever you want to use the AC signal value, we will be using IRMS value only. Remember, IRMS is related to AC signal. So in all the problems, we will be directly using IRMS in the place of AC. So in even in the experimentation, you will be having these experiments in third semester, analog and digital electronics lab. There you will do this experiment where you will be finding out IRMS value, and you will tell IRMS is equal to IAC is equal to that value. You will note down like this. That means IRMS value is directly indicating the AC signal, that is AC current or AC voltage. Okay. After this, next the derivation for this. For this also, we'll start with the same step, whatever we have followed for DC current. So area under the curve over the full cycle by time period. But the only change is root. It will be having a root, and the current will be squared. Root mean square. So it will be having a square root as well as squared. The current will be squared. So that's why we will write IRMS is equal to root. Because of this, it will be root of. So area under the curve over full cycle. So how you are going to give that? In the last class we have discussed. Area under the curve over full cycle current.
0 to 2 pi I square d.
Yeah, 0 to 2 pi There we have taken Im sin theta. Here we'll take it as Im square sin square theta. So let us write I square into d theta first step. And what is the total time period? It
2
is
pi.
2
2
pi.
pi because one full cycle we are taking. After this, we are going to substitute for I. I is what? It is the instantaneous input signal, instantaneous current. So to that instantaneous current, we are going to put its equation. So 0 to 2 pi. So we will take it as Im sin theta whole square into d theta divided by 2 pi. Now again, we will split it up. So 0 to pi Im square sin square theta into d theta plus pi to 2 pi sin Im square sin square d theta whole root. So this divided by 2 pi. Now looking into the output waveform, whatever we have obtained. So this is the output waveform for the current versus time. So according to this, 0 to pi, this is 0, pi, 2 pi. From 0 to pi, do we have any value for Im? Hmm?
Yes, sir.
We have the value
Yes, sir.
for Im. So it is fine. Next, look into pi to 2 pi. Pi to 2 pi, the current is completely 0. So it will be considered as 0. So only the remaining thing is root of, we'll take Im square outside, Im square integration sin square theta into d theta divided by 2 pi. So we can write sin square theta in terms of 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. So that we will apply. It is root of Im square by 2 pi, and we will write 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. So that trigonometric formula we have applied. Now after that again integrating it individually. So root of Im square by 2 pi into 1 by 2 integration of 0 to pi into d theta minus half into 0 to pi cos 2 theta into d theta. So after this, the next step will be root of Im square by 2 pi into, so when you are going to when you are going to integrate d theta, so what you'll be having? You'll be having theta, right? Theta pi to 0 minus, right, half. This is half. This becomes sine 2 theta by 2 is pi 0. So after this, what is sine 2 pi?
0.
Sine pi, sine 0, 0.
0.
So that's why we'll be having only this
Ye-
part. So Im square by 2 pi into this one becomes pi by 2 minus 0, right? Pi by 2 minus 0. That is equal to, so this becomes pi will get cancelled, and we will be having Im by 2. So IRMS is equal to Im by 2. This is the equation for the IRMS. See, if you take IRMS, what is 1 by 2?
0.5.
0.5, right? 0.5 times Im. That means 50%, right? So whatever the content we are getting Im at the output side, in that 50% of the output is AC, right? So we have taken 31.8%. So approximately 32% of the output is only DC. From this we can observe that approximately 50% of the output is AC. So that much AC content is present in this. Now I want to write an equation for VRMS. Similar to IRMS, I want to write an equation for VRMS. To write the equation for VRMS, we have VRMS is equal to IRMS into RL. So IRMS is equal to Im by 2 into RL. And for Im, in terms of Vm, we will be writing it as Vm by Rf plus Rs plus RL into RL by 2. And what is the Rf and Rs value? It is very less compared to RL. So this is negligible. So RL will get cancelled, so that we will be getting VRMS is equal to Vm by 2. So therefore VRMS is equal to Vm by 2. This is the equation for the RMS voltage. After this, the next derivation is on ripple factor. So ripple factor. So for ripple factor, as I told, ripple is the presence of AC component in DC output. The amount of AC component which is present in the output signal which we are getting, that is known as the ripple. So ripple factor is the quantitative measurement of conversion of AC power to DC power by a half wave rectifier. So it needs to convert the AC signal to DC. So how much factor it is converting, that is given by ripple factor. So for ripple factor, the basic first step, we start with RMS value of AC component of output voltage divided by DC component of output voltage. So here R is equal to IAC by IDC. So here we will be taking for ripple factor IAC by IDC. We are going to take, as I had told you before, RMS value is going to give the average value of AC, and ripple factor, it is the ratio of AC component in DC output. So by IAC by IDC, it is going to tell how much AC component is present in the output. But as you know, we don't have any direct equation for IAC. We don't have any direct equation for IAC. That's why we are having an equation for IRMS. So IRMS is it is with respect to the output signal what we are getting and which is containing AC. Since we are talking about the output signal, So IRMS square will be equal to I square DC plus I square AC, because output is the combination of AC as well as DC. Even though I am telling it is the RMS value, it is related to AC, but in this also it will be containing DC, because it is not separating AC as well as DC. So that's why even the DC component is also present there when you take the average. That's why IRMS square is equal to I square DC plus I square AC. So, but we need IAC equation to substitute in this equation. That's why IAC is equal to I square RMS minus I square DC whole root. Now take this as equation number 1 and this as equation number 2. So substitute equation 2 in 1. When you substitute equation 2 in 1, we get R is equal to root of I square RMS minus I square DC divided by IDC. See here, next step, what I'll do is I'll take IDC inside the root. So when I take the IDC inside the root, during that time it is I square RMS minus I square DC divided by I square DC. Now, when you take I square DC individually, during that time it becomes I square RMS by I square DC minus 1. And what is the formula we have obtained already for IRMS and IDC?
Im by 2.
Im by 2 for IRMS, and this one Im by pi. Substitute it. Im by 2 and Im by pi. We'll take like this. Whole square minus 1. Im will get cancelled. That is equal to root of pi square by 4 minus 1. So that is equal to root of, so pi by 4 value is 1.57. Whole square minus 1. So that becomes 1.21. So that is the ripple value. So now ripple value is 1.21. If you write it in terms of percentage, it will be 121%. So if I think in the book it is printed as 1.21, there is a typing error. So it is 121. Just change that. Ripple value is 1.21, but ripple factor for in terms of percentage is 121%. Okay, but in the calculation you should use 1.21 only, because you'll not use directly the percentage values. You need to convert it and you need to write. So ripple value is 1.21, percentage is 121. So that means you can just imagine the output component contains 121% of AC component. That means almost whatever we are getting is almost AC only. Very less amount of DC is present. That is the indication which we obtain from ripple factor. After this, the next part is efficiency. Efficiency of rectification. So efficiency of rectification. So in the efficiency of rectification, we are having efficiency means always output by input. So whatever we are getting in this case, what is the output and what is the input? Which is DC, which is AC?
Input is AC and output is DC.
So efficiency is obtained by taking the ratio of DC output power by AC input power. So efficiency is given as it is the ratio of DC power delivered to the load
Hello, this is the call.
So DC power delivery to the load by AC input power. From where you are getting this AC input power when you talk with respect to diode?
Source.
A source file. Between the source and the diode there is transformer. So from which part of the transformer you are getting the input? From?
Primary.
No, primary is with respect to the source.
Secondary.
Secondary, from the secondary you are getting the input to the diode. That's why you should tell transformer secondary. So that is equal to PDC by PAC. For power, we already know the basic equations. P is equal to I square R, P is equal to VI. So here we will be using P is equal to I square R. So PDC is equal to I square R. So first we will write the basic equation. So what kind of current you will consider for PDC? Obviously it should be DC. And where this DC current is flowing, which resistance it is flowing? Across RL. So it is RL. Same way AC input power. So for this also it is I square into R. See here we have taken only RL because this DC current is flowing when you take the diode like this. Whatever it is coming here, that is considered as DC. So that is going to flow across RL. So we considered only RL. But when you consider AC, input AC power, so in this case, how you will write the AC power, AC current? We'll write it in terms of RMS.
RMS.
But yeah, but the current which is coming from the transformer secondary, for this current, IRMS current, it needs to oppose many resistance at different level. See, first at initial level, what is the resistance which is offered by the transformer secondary? What do you call it?
Secondary
RS.
RS.
RS. So that will be there. Then after that, it has to flow through the diode. So obviously, it should get opposition from RF. And after that, it has to come to the load. So it will be RL. So all these three resistors are considered here. So take this as equation number 1 and this as equation number 2. Now efficiency for we'll be just substituting I square DC RL and divided by I square RMS RS plus RF plus RL. So I square DC for IDC we are having the formula IM by pi. Substitute that into RL divided by I square RMS we are having formula IM by 2. So IM by 2 whole square into RS plus RF plus RL. So IM will get cancelled. And now the remaining thing is if you simplify the remaining things, whatever you are having, it will come around 0.406 into RL divided by RF plus RS plus RL. And also, as we know, RF plus RS is very, very less compared to RL. So the above equation can be written as 0.406 into RL divided by RL. So RL will get cancelled and you'll get efficiency as 0.406. Percentage efficiency is 40.6%. That means half wave rectifier converts only 40.6% of AC input power to DC. So only 40.6% of the input is converted to DC. It is not going to convert the entire thing. So efficiency is comparatively very less. Okay. So after this, the next one is voltage regulation. So voltage regulation is it is the variation in DC output voltage as a function of DC current. It is a variation of DC output voltage as a function of DC current. So percentage regulation is given by V no load minus V full load divided by V full load into 100. Say here no load, full load. As the English meaning of no load, full load seems to be like no load means there is no load. Full load means there is heavy load. But actually the electronics meaning of no load is it is the maximum voltage obtained across the output. When do you get maximum voltage? When do you get maximum voltage?
When current is maximum.
When current is maximum. Okay. See, the voltage means what? It is the potential difference, right? Potential difference, the difference between the two terminals, or it is known as potential drop. Just think on this. Okay, I'll give one more example. Say V is equal to I into R. When this I will be maximum, when R is minimum, right? According to you, whatever you told, the current is maximum, voltage will be maximum. Okay, so I'll make the resistance as 0. Resistance as 0. Automatically current will increase. But what about voltage?
0.
Voltage will increase 0, right? So from this, can you tell me on which parameter does the voltage depends?
Resistance.
Resistance, right? So V no load, it is the condition where the output voltage is maximum. When will be the output voltage maximum? When
At zero resistance.
when the resistance is maximum, right? So that indicates no load means it is maximum load condition. Don't get confused because it is like that only. No load, since word is like that, but this will be the condition where there is maximum load. This is what the electronics meaning. Full load means it is the voltage drop when the load is minimum. It is the voltage drop when the load is minimum. Okay, don't get confused. No load means it is just reverse, maximum load condition, because this has to be voltage is maximum. Voltage is maximum only when resistance is maximum, as we discussed here. So maximum load condition in which the voltage is maximum is known as V no load. V full load is minimum load condition where the voltage is slightly minimum or minimum. So from this, we get the percentage regulation. What is this percentage regulation? Percentage regulation will give you how much fluctuation it is having. The load I'll be giving for the rectifier circuit. First, let me assume that I'm going to give 1 kilo ohm. After that, I'll give 5 kilo ohm. After that, I'll give 10 kilo ohm. After that, 100 kilo ohm I'll get. So for this, correspondingly, you'll be getting the voltages, different voltages. So here, this becomes our, according to this equation, what is 1 kilo ohm? Which value will be considered?
Full load.
Full load.
Full load. This is VFL. This is VNL. By substituting this voltage in this equation, we'll come to know that how much fluctuation it is having. Actually, irrespective of the load, the output should be constant. But if it is having some fluctuation based upon resistance, it is just like I'll put one mobile, it will be giving some voltage. I'll put one more mobile, it will be giving some voltage. It should not be like that. Irrespective of mobiles, whatever company mobile you are going to put, the adapter has to give same voltage. It has to give 5 volt for all the uh, mobiles. So if it is having some regulation, percentage regulation, then that will indicate it is having that much fluctuation. Ideally, the regulation is okay. You just guess what will be the ideal regulation which is preferred. I told you, a regulation means how much variation it is having. That much it will tell percentage. So ideally, how much should be
0.
0? Okay, not 100. What happens if regulation is 100%? If regulation is 100%, then there will become maximum fluctuation. Okay, so ideally, regulation is 0%, but practically 1 to 2% is acceptable. 1 to 2% fluctuation is fine. That can be accepted. This is about the voltage regulation. After that, we are having form factor, transformer utilization factor, all those things. That is not there for your syllabus. So those are following my book. So I have given this extra things, form factor, transformer utilization factor, but that is not there for your syllabus. You can just ignore those two. No need to study. After this, the last thing is peak inverse voltage. So peak inverse voltage. Inverse means opposite. Voltage on opposite voltage. Peak means VM, right? Peak opposite voltage. See, then meaning is there only. Peak inverse of voltage. That means it is the maximum voltage which is going to appear across the diode under reverse bias condition. See, when diode is reverse biased, when you are going to connect like this, at the secondary part only I'm connecting. During forward bias condition, the current will flow like this. During reverse bias condition, current will flow like this. So because of that reverse bias condition, whatever the voltage that will appear across this, whatever the voltage that appears across this will be the same voltage what we had when it was in forward bias condition. If you had the voltage as Vm in forward bias condition, what will be the reverse bias condition? Under reverse bias condition, what is the voltage?
Minus VM.
Minus Vm. Because yesterday I had told you while telling peak to peak voltage, all those things. So this is peak voltage, which is Vm. This is also peak voltage, which is written as minus Vm. This is known as peak to peak voltage. If this voltage is appearing across the forward bias condition diode, then obviously this will appear under reverse bias condition. So minus Vm will be applied in the opposite direction. So peak inverse voltage is the voltage that appears across the diode during non-conducting condition. That means under reverse bias condition. Or in other way, you can tell PIV is the maximum voltage a diode can withstand under reverse bias condition. So this will be given by the manufacturer. We call it as PIV rating of a diode. So if you based upon the PIV rating of the diode, you can just choose the resistance. See, if you are thinking to apply 50 volt and suppose minus 50 volt under reverse bias condition, rating of the diode is just 10 volt, then during that time the diode will get burst out. So you need to choose a diode which is having PIV rating greater than minus 50 volt. Okay, this is the peak inverse voltage. After this, coming to the advantages and disadvantages. See, advantages is the circuit is very simple and it is using only one diode, and PIV is only Vm. And here we are not using any center tap transformer. So center tap transformer means the secondary whatever we are having now, it will be like this. It is going to be tapped at the center exactly, so that this acts as one secondary, this acts as one secondary. But when you use the center tap transformer, no, it is quite costlier compared to normal transformer. And again, there will be risk because number of turns here should be equal to the number of turns in this. So both the number of turns of the coil should match. So since we are not using center tap transformer, we have that advantage. Coming to the disadvantage, we are having lot of disadvantages. Can anyone tell me what is the first disadvantage?
Ripple factor.
Yeah, ripple factor is 121%, which is not at all acceptable. After that, efficiency is just 40.6%, which is very low. And we are having a low transformer utilization factor, which is of 0.287, and also it is going to rectify only for half a cycle, right? It is not going to rectify full cycle, it is going to rectify only half cycle. So that's why this is one of these are the disadvantages we are having. So after this, we are going to study full wave rectifier, so that we will do it in the next class.